All right, nice words from our friend Craig Carton. Chris Broussard back here with Rick Bucher. Antoine's having some technical difficulties, so it's Rick and I for this segment. But, Rick, let's talk Suns. Devin Booker was asked if Phoenix is a super team. Here's what he said, quote, "We only had one all-star." That's KD. So we heard Twine. At least we did get to ask him, Rick. He said they are not a super team. Do you think, is it fair to call Phoenix a super team?
Are we distinguishing now between a big three and a super team? 32 and 28, I don't know that that's a super team. But I also feel as if Devin Booker is dodging something here. Is there, why doesn't he want to be labeled a super team? Because by definition, you got three guys who have been all-stars and are considered stars. Are they any more or less? If I look at any team in the West, Brew, any team in the West, is there any team that has three bigger stars right now than the Phoenix Suns?
Nope. Most teams, Rick, don't even have two. Denver has one star, right? Memphis has one star. Those are the top two seeds. I'm with you.
Right. The Los Angeles Clippers, Kawhi and Paul George, right? Fair. I know you guys are excited about Russ Westbrook being there, but I'm sure you weren't buying into AD and LeBron and Russ being a big three, as some people defined it. So I don't want to go there. So here's my question. What does it say about Devin Booker and his confidence in this Phoenix Suns team that he doesn't want to be labeled as a super team? Why would you not want to be considered a super team unless you're afraid of the responsibility or the expectation that comes with being labeled a super team? I don't know, but that aspect of it is far more curious to me than whether it is or not. Brew, I don't know about you. My definition of what a superstar is, I'm very selective. I got maybe like 3, 4, top 5 guys that I would label as superstars in the league. I know we throw that around a lot more generously than that. And so there are people out there who would say, like Clay, Dre, and Steph right now, they're still a super team with 3 superstars.
Right.
I look at how guys are playing in the moment. And so I agree with Devin that the way Chris Paul is playing right now, I don't know that he qualifies as a, well, he certainly doesn't qualify as a superstar. Right. I'm not even sure he qualifies as a star.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't make the All-Star team. And I know Devin was kind of playing around with that. He would have made it had he been healthy. But I hear you on Devin dodging that and not wanting that responsibility of, we're a super team. I don't think it has to mean he's scared of the responsibility. I think it's just saying, let's not put extra pressure on ourselves. Because he knows, Rick, there is no super team. I mean, if your definition is Miami Heat, right? The LeBron and Wade and Bosh, or Golden State when Kevin Durant went there, if those are your definitions, 3 stars, then I don't know if this is a super team. But I got to be honest, Rick, I think of him as a super team. Because Devin Booker is, whether you call him a superstar or not, he is a perennial all-star, one of the best players in the league. Kevin Durant obviously is still a top 5 player. Chris Paul, while not what he used to be, he doesn't have to be what he used to be with this team, right? If he gives me his 12, 14, and 8, I'll take that. I don't need him taking shots, scoring 20 points again. If he gets the balls to Booker and Durant in the right places, and then, Rick, I know DeAndre Ayton is not a star, but in today's NBA, he gives you 18 and 10 without you having to run a lot of plays for him. He can play defense. Most teams don't have that kind of size. I almost think they got darn near a big 4 if you walk down a little bit. So I think on paper, you want to say Boston's deeper, fine. But top heavy, they're the top heaviest team, and they still have some depth. Like, at the top of their roster, nobody has as much talent as Phoenix in my book.
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said that Devin Booker didn't want the pressure that comes along with being a super team. And yet you just described a super team.
No, I'm saying I don't think I'm saying I don't think he's avoiding that pressure. I think he's just saying let's not add, you throw out we're a super team, it's like you're saying we're definitely winning the championship. So
why would...
LeBron did that with not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. It didn't work out even though he won 2.
Well, this is just one.
I think you have to throw that out there. You just go get it done. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's move on to the Celtics. Rick, I picked them yesterday to win the East. All right, I had to move on from Brooklyn because they traded away Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Gotta admit, I'm all right with moving on from them. All right, so I went with Boston. They got a nice start last night. They beat Indiana in overtime, 31 for Jason, 30 for Jalen. Do you think they are I don't know who you picked in the East, but are the Celtics the clear-cut favorites in the East?
All right, let's be clear. You're not all right with moving on. You're relieved that you get to move on from the Brooklyn Nets. They gave you an out.
They had a nice little 18-3 run. I'm like rested in that.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I picked the Milwaukee Bucks at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to stay with them. Malcolm Brogdon and the way that he has played and the way the Boston Celtics have rebounded from what could have been something that buried them at the very beginning, which was the issues surrounding Ime Udoka and losing their head coach. I love the way they've rebounded, but if you're asking me between the two, who do I trust more? I still trust the Milwaukee Bucks more than the Boston Celtics because I just am not fully convinced that I'm going to get Jason Tatum, the best of Jason Tatum, every time that I need Jason Tatum. I cannot erase what happened in the finals last year and then what happened not just once but twice in the 2 games that Boston played the Golden State Warriors where I needed to see him step up. Now, the second game they won, and he found his game more so in the second half overtime, but it was a shaky start. I still can't say that he's had a dominant performance. I don't know if the Milwaukee Bucks are better. I think they're better than they were last year when they lost in a 7-game series to the Celtics. I think the Celtics are also better, as I said, with the addition of Brogdon. But I just know that the Milwaukee Bucks, whatever they are, Giannis may not have a good game, but he's not going to wilt under pressure. Drew Holiday's not going to wilt under pressure. Chris Middleton is not going to wilt under pressure. I don't know that yet about Jason Tatum, and that's what makes me nervous.
Hey, look, I'll give you this. If somehow Golden State could get right, they've got something on the Celtics. Like even though, like you said, the Celtics beat them that last game, they are a tough matchup for Boston. Here's the problem with Milwaukee, because emotionally, I really would like to see Giannis win a second ring. Rick, I think that opens up all types of discussions, right? What is his potential going forward? But my problem with them, and you mentioned Chris Middleton, I don't think he's right yet. Like, he was coming, he started over the last month or so, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, was starting to look like the old Chris Middleton, and now the knees bothering him a little bit again. So I think that's the issue. If you can promise me he's going to be healthy, he's going to be the Chris Middleton of old, then I do like the Bucks' chances against Boston. But without him either being there or either being like close to the player he usually is, I think Boston, because Rick, they picked up the defense with Robert Williams back. Like, their defense is playing phenomenal. And I do think I'm going to give Tatum the benefit of the doubt. I think that first finals, maybe that has something to do with it. I think he'll bounce back and play well. All right, let's move on to the Sixers. They're like the only other team, I guess, in the East that at least realistically, you don't want to write off Cleveland, maybe Miami, but realistically that could keep us from a Bucks-Celtics Eastern Conference final. Joel Embiid last night, 27 points, 19 boards. Nice comeback win over Memphis. Kenny Smith said this after the game, that Embiid is a much tougher cover than Jason Tatum or Giannis. Do you agree with Kenny, Rick?
Which quarter are we talking about? If it's the first quarter, maybe the second quarter, I would go with Joel Embiid. I just think between his three-point shooting, his range, his mid-range, and the fact that he likes to physically beat people up, I'd give him the edge over Giannis. But if we're talking about the fourth quarter, we're talking about the last 2 minutes, you know how it is with bigs, Brew. They get tired. Yeah. And we see that with Embiid. And I'm not saying he's even, like, out of shape. It's just hard when you get to the final couple of minutes. You see the fatigue of being a big guy having to run with all those gazelles, that it affects him. And if it's the last 2 minutes, I'm still going with Giannis over Joel. But any other time, I'd give it to Embiid.
That's fair. I mean, obviously he's skilled in the way that Giannis isn't. I mean, he has become a terrific mid-range shooter and decent from three. And, Rick, yep. I agree with you late in games. And that's why, honestly, I like to see him a little more down low late in games. I like him at the elbow. Obviously, like I said, he's a terrific mid-range shooter. But when your legs go, right, that three-pointer's not necessarily going to fall late in the game if you're a bit fatigued. Even your mid-range jump shot can be off if you don't have the legs. So that's when I think you get down low, you draw some fouls, you get to the foul line. He's a tough cover, but I think you make a good point about differentiating early game, late game. All right, Rick, great stuff, man. I appreciate you. We will have you on going forward for sure for more NBA talk. And now we're going to move on to NFL. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on First Things First. Yes, we're talking Chiefs, even though Nick Wright is not here. Greg Jennings wants to wax eloquently on why they won't win the AFC.